Happy 2023, everyone. I am ecstatic to wrap up this January with all of you, with a very dear friend of mine, our guest for today, Yvonne Cazares. She's an entrepreneur, a leader, a tóxica. But more than anything, is what I like to call her, my soul sister. Yvonne, welcome. How are you?
I'm great.
Don't have a panic attack of laughter, okay?
Completely out of my comfort zone.
We're going to be okay. No, but we're going to be fine. But you know what? I think there's something you need to tell us, Yvonne. I did say Yvonne Cazares, but there's some news out there that I think you need to put it out to the universe and to the world. What's going on?
Yes, I haven't told it many people or anybody yet, for that matter, but I'm Yvonne Voskuhl. I have not changed my last name. I'm waiting a few months to let it sink in.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, this is Yvonne exciting, okay? Excited. This is her face when she's upset, her face never changes. No. But I know that you're very happy and very excited with your marriage. Now, tell me a little bit about how the marriage happened. And I know there were a few non-negotiables between you and the compadre, which I did this by design, and that's how we're going to start it. Breaking the ice. Come on, let's do it.
So yes, there were a few non-negotiables. He's a little bit more old school than I am. I do things my way, right? I march at the beat of my own drum. Yes, right. But it seems that it wasn't going to work that way this time around. So he did not want to move in together until we were married. And
how'd you feel about that?
It's 2023. Who doesn't test drive and, try things out before you move in together? I think to me that was the obvious way to do this. But for him, it was a non-negotiable. No, absolutely. We do not move in together until we're married. And I took a stance where I'm not going to sell my house and move in together until we were married. So it just led us to the obvious choice of wanting to get married. And we wanted to pick a really cool day. So we ended up, I believe, 11/11/22. Yes, that's what we ended up picking just because it was easy to remember. So we've been married for a few months now. Doesn't feel any different just because we haven't blended just yet. We are searching for a home to move in together. He has 5 kids. 5.
Yes.
5. And I have 2, so blending is going to be a lot of work.
A great big family,
yes, great big family. But, that's what I always wanted. I always wanted a big family, and call me crazy, but I even always wanted, one more for myself. I don't know that that's going to happen, but who knows?
If it happens, it happens.
It happens, right? Absolutely. I think that the dynamic, first, it's a crazy world that we live in, and then second of all, with running a family and running a business and then having some personal time, and even marriage is really, really hard. I mean, this is my second time around on it. I want to make sure that this is my last. I don't want to go through this again.
Which is, I've seen a very drastic change with you as a person, and I love it because I know how you used to be, and I know how
we used to be.
We used to be. But, it takes a lot for you to even, for example, just changing your last name. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal for you. And it took some time for it to sink in and say, you know what, I'm going to do this because this is my husband and I love him and it's going to work out.
But you also have to see, and I think a lot of people will understand, hardworking individuals. I don't want to narrow this down to women because it has nothing to do about being a woman, right? This isn't a sexist thing. But I worked really, really hard to create a name for myself in this business. I'm not calling myself an influencer or a celebrity or anything of that. But when you Google Yvonne Cazares, you know that that's a real estate agent, right? And so to me, that was very difficult and it took a lot of time to do. So changing a last name to me was
changing your identity.
It was absolutely changing my identity. And I don't feel that I'm not being adopted. I'm getting married. I'm blending. So it did take some negotiation there, but I'm open to it, and I'm happy. I'm
and that's all that
willing
matters.
To do it, right?
And that's all that matters.
But I think that I had to take a step back and figure out, okay, what are my non-negotiables? I can't win all of them.
No,
and a successful marriage will never be successful if I take my stance and I try to win every single argument, and I'm just not going to do that. Not at this age, and just it's just so.
And it's really not about winning. It's just about compromising. Hearing your husband, I'm sure he had his reasons of why he wanted you to have his last name, and vice versa.
It might be a cultural thing because
I don't know.
I don't know. Do Mexicans want people to change their last name? But definitely white people do. But I don't know because typically in the Mexican culture, you hyphen it.
Right.
And that's okay. But that was not an
okay.
option. No, that was not an option.
Okay. But then there's also, women that want to change their last name.
Yes.
So I don't think it even has to do with culture. It's
a different dynamic. I think it's a different dynamic.
What you want, right?
Or even like when individuals get a divorce and they don't take their name back to what it used to be. I don't really understand.
My thing is it takes so long to even change your last name.
Yes.
But then it's even worse when you're saying, you know what, I don't want to change because of the what ifs. What if we get a divorce? Stop. Because you're
starting your relationship with.
It's either why do you want your last name? Why don't you want your last name? And in his case, he also made, a change, which is moving to Pearland.
Yes. So he started off in Full Shirt, which is Katy area. And that was a big move to the city. And then now from the city to Pearland. So I can't really take on stance on something that in the big picture is not that. Like, it's not that important. It's important to him, but just not that important to me. So Jake 1, Yvonne 0.
And that's okay. Now tell us, Yvonne, now that you're married and you have a big blended family, everybody's amazing, and I love them all, my sobrinitos and my sobrinitas, and now I have 5 extra sobrinos and sobrinas. Yes. On a scale from 1 to 10, how's your relationship with your family?
I have a great relationship with my brother and my sister.
It's a family of how big is your family?
Let's see. I had 4 siblings. Myself was 5. Tragedy hit. One did pass away at a very young age. And then so now it's 2 brothers, and then it's myself and my sister, and I'm the youngest one.
Okay. You consider your sister your best friend?
Oh, absolutely. She's my best friend.
Yes,
I don't know what I don't know what I would do without her. I feel that, we live 2 minutes away. That's how close we are. Hell, she has my kid since yesterday. So, she's my person.
Yes.
And I can finish her sentences. She doesn't even have to talk. I could just tell her the demeanor in her face that I know exactly what she's thinking, what she wants to do. Absolutely. Absolutely. So she is my person.
Did you have that connection always, or did it grow?
I think it grew through time. We're 3 years apart, so we always had a really
close... And you share the same birthday.
We do share the same birthday. She's not just my twin, but, she's my soul sister.
Then I'm the second.
Yes, you're also my soul sister. But we've always had a great relationship. Even through adolescence, we were just really, really close. Now, 3 years doesn't seem like a lot, but whenever you're 9 and she's 12, that's a big difference because the hormones, and a 9-year-old isn't as developed as a 12. So when the craze with the boys and all of that stuff happened, I wasn't quite there yet. So we maybe didn't see eye to eye or didn't have much in common for a year because my boy craze came really soon after. But, it was maybe a year lap, but we've always just run really, really close.
And what about your relationship with your parents?
Yes. So I don't have the best relationship with my parents. My parents are divorced, and it was very unique growing up for me. I think that all of my siblings lived a completely different life and had an experience with my parents. So my oldest brother was very close to my parents in his time, and then but when it got to me was when tragedy hit. My brother passed away. So when I came, my life was completely different than theirs. And it's difficult to kind of understand because when I talk to some of my siblings, they don't see it. But when I speak to some of my family members, they 100% see it. So what some people don't know is that I was premature. I was born at 6 months. I was almost 2 pounds. I almost didn't make it. And my mom was going through so much, having to deal with losing a 7-year-old son.
You're the youngest.
I am the youngest. And so I can never fathom losing a child. I really can't. So I cannot judge anybody for the way that they react
and grieve
and cope, and then how their life proceeds from there. Because if I lost a child, I'm not sure that I would have be able to continue, regardless if I had any other kids. I don't know that I can move on. So I am no one to judge, but I do feel that the loss of my sibling affected my childhood. So what a lot of people don't know about me is that up till when I was 7 years old, I was actually dressed like a boy and my hair was cut like a boy, and they called me Johnny. And that's how I grew up. I was never in dresses. I was never, perceived like the pretty girl of the family. I was the black sheep of the family. And I didn't know anything different than what I was living, right? And so when I finally got to get out of that dynamic, nobody recognized me.
Right, because
it was a complete
change.
yes. Well, I was also an overweight kid, And so when I developed and I let my hair grow, I moved out of my home at, very, very young age. I was maybe 12 years old when I moved out. And so when I developed and went into high school, I remember even going from middle school to high school. Kashmir went to middle school with me. And if you see the pictures that she has of me versus what I look like now, you would never believe it.
We're going to have to ask her to share those pictures.
Yes, no, it was absolutely ridiculous of the way that I dressed. Just everything about me was so different. But I was the black sheep. And, we grew up. I'm not going to say we were poor because we weren't poor. My parents were very successful. And they're entrepreneurs and they own a lot of successful businesses. But I never got new clothes. Like, we were raised on garage sales and thrift shops.
Did you ever ask?
No, not really.
It
was just the norm. And so
And you didn't know anything different. So
no,
to you it was normal.
I had nothing to compare it to. I didn't have many friends. I've always been a loner. Hell, till my adult life, I'm still a loner.
Yes,
and
about that too.
yes, I've always been a loner, and I like that. I like having just a handful of friends. I've never trusted individuals, so it's really hard to be in my circle because I just don't trust individuals. I really don't. I think that there's been so many instances in my life where people have betrayed the trust. So it's a completely different dynamic these days.
I will say it's probably due to the fact that when you do let somebody in your life, you give it your all.
Absolutely.
And you're a very loyal person to where you probably may give too much and it's taken for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can 100% agree with that.
okay,
Yes,
so
that's
how
a
do you
great
feel
observation.
about that? Since you've been betrayed, what did that make you feel?
Did
Did you feel betrayed with your family? Do you think that has something to do with it while you were growing up?
I don't have a victim mentality. I don't know that I feel betrayed. I feel that I am who I am because of what I went through. And so do I blame anybody? No, because as a mother, I don't know what it's like to lose a child, right? So I could have reacted 100 times worse. And I could have taken out on another child. Do I think that I would do that? No, but it has made me the mother that I am because, and it's really sad to say this, but it made me the person that I know I don't want to be. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I saw all the features and I saw all the qualities of me growing up, and I didn't focus on the good things because there was good things, but I focused on all the bad things that happened to me, and it allowed me to think about, okay, as a mother, as a leader, as an individual, what am I going to be and what am I not going to be? Who do I not want to be? And so I really, really
and what is that? Who do you not want to be?
I think that, some individuals. And it's really funny because sometimes I'm like, I hate when she would do that to me. Like I'm talking about my mother. I do it. We all have a little bit of something to do with our parents, regardless of how much you like them or not. Lo que dicen, lo que no puedes ver, lo has de tener.
Sí, claro.
Yes. And I'm not saying I dislike her or lo que no la puedo ver. I do. I love her. I love her as, a
Because I
person.
mean, she's your mother.
She is. She's my mother. I just don't think she was a good mother.
To you.
Right. To me. I think she was a great mother to my siblings. I just don't think she was a good mother to me.
Have you told her this?
No, I don't really have these conversations with them. I prefer not to, because I have accomplished a lot of my life, and I'm not a little girl anymore. I don't need you to tell me that you're proud of me. I don't. I think that I looked for that and I searched for that during the younger years of my life, but after a certain time frame, you kind of just give up, because you can't show old dogs new tricks. Right? And I'm not trying to change anybody, because at the end of the day, I am who I am because of the circumstances.
Yes.
And so do I regret, or do I have some type of resentment? I really don't. Like, when I see them, I act like nothing, and I still love them the same. It's just the relationship in itself isn't what a mother-daughter should be. And when I do see other people's relationships, it does kind of take me back a little bit about, like, I wish I had that.
But you know what I see? I see that you do have that with your kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I see the connection that you have with them and how you're so open with them and they are open with you. I mean, Kayla just runs to you, of course, because you're her mom and she just adores you. But I can tell that they're not afraid to talk to you about anything. I think you've been very open with them and have esa confianza con tus hijos de decir, si algo pasa, I'm here for you. Having that for kids means wonders, because you have their back and they know that.
But we also have to keep in mind, because I don't want this to sound like I'm bashing anybody. I'm not. No. My mother did what she could with the circumstances and the card she was dealt.
Right, because who are we to judge how she felt during that time? Who knows
how my dynamic would be or change and affect me as a mother had I lost a child at 7 years old, saw him get decapitated. Like, that stuff is pretty strong stuff that will completely mess you up.
Of course.
So I judge nothing. At the end of the day, I have to take a step back and think about, she coped the best way that she could.
And that speaks volumes of you, because you do your empatía, la empatía que tienes con tu mamá. And you know what? To me, it's just with any parent in general. There's not a book to tell you how to raise your kids.
No, or how to cope with anything.
Best mother, father, and the child will take a different route in life. It's just, for me to say it's your parents' fault, or no. It's
circumstantial.
You come to an age to where you make your own choices in life. And it's like you said, you're not victimizing yourself. You're using that as your avenue to say, this is what I want and what I don't want. And you grow as you go.
And, there's certain individuals that have said, oh, I was raped as a kid, or I lived like this, and which is why I'm an alcoholic, which is why I'm a drug addict. Well, if anything, I feel that, I'm not saying that some of those things don't apply to me, because, we all have our skeletons in the closet. Nobody knows what we actually live through, because we don't all
put it out there.
Disclose it. No.
Right.
But I don't feel like that's an excuse. Right?
And it's not
you
an
have
excuse,
to change.
But again, it's everybody copes with how they deal with situations differently. With that, I know you said you were an obese kid. Were you really?
Oh, yes. I was chunky. Really? I was crazy chunky.
So
you couldn't see my neck. It was
you
bad.
Can see my neck now. It's okay.
But, it was a combination of being overweight, and then I have really curly hair, and it's just really sad. But they had to keep it short. Back in the day, lice was a big deal. I had lice. I did. I was changing from schools to schools. Honestly, I don't even know how many schools I went to as a kid, because we moved around a lot. But I was an ugly kid. I had a unibrow. I never had the birds and the bees talk with my mom. Nobody ever told me that I needed to shave. Literally, I was probably in middle school.
Your sister didn't tell you?
No. Well, my sister was off doing
her
what
thing.
Kids do at that age. And so nobody gave me the how
So you had to figure it out on your own.
Oh, absolutely, I did.
And I don't even think there was Google at that.
No, there
or
was
how
nothing.
to
There was
YouTube how
pagers.
tos, right?
It was pagers.
Goodness.
But-
so do you feel that did it create like maybe a low self-esteem as you were growing up, or maybe where you felt like now that you know you look great? Do you consider yourself a beautiful person?
I think I'm good looking.
Okay.
I do.
Did that change anything on your perspective of having low self-esteem? Like if somebody were to come and tell you, hey, you're gaining weight.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Any little thing that you say about my weight or, social media is ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always battled my weight. Even till this day, I've always battled my weight. It just depends on, I'm an emotional eater and I'm a stress eater. Some people, they don't do that, but I do. So it just depends on what I'm going through and what's going on in my life. And some days you could tell in a month I'll gain like 10 pounds. I'm pretty good about losing weight, but I'm also very good at gaining it. But yeah, I think that anytime somebody makes a comment about your appearance, and I don't even know that you have to be insecure about that specifically or have battled it, it affects you in a certain way. I think that, those keyboard warriors don't really know that the person that they're commenting on actually has like feelings. And do I take it personal these days? No, I've stepped back from social media so much, and I don't really revolve myself with individuals that are going to put that type of negativity in my life.
Because it's happened a lot in your life, I've noticed.
Yes.
People are very quickly to judge you as a person. And I've told you this before, they can come to me and say, I just don't see myself speaking to Yvonne. Why? Because they think either te crees mucho, which is really definitely not the case.
Which is interesting because a lot of our agents, before they even met me, said, I 100% thought that you were a B. I don't know if you can curse.
Yes.
But yes. And so they said, once I actually got to know you, it was a completely different dynamic. But I think it goes back to no new friends. I will not talk to you unless you approach me.
Right, when they approach you. But then once te dan esa entradita, like you're an open book,
I am.
is what I say. Yvonne is you are approachable to me. I feel like once you get to know the person, you're a chitty chatter. Y no te callas. Like you could say everything, no te limitas a lo que quieras decir, because you're an open book, right? Mm-hmm. But how do you feel when you do get judged? Because one thing that I have heard in the past, and I've told you this before, that they say it about, both of us. Y ahora ya cambiaron. Like now you're something completely different. When you used to have a past, right? Everybody has a past, first of all. You're not going to stay in that past forever.
No, I think that everybody has a chapter in their book, right? So we all progress as individuals and we all live and we learn. I was this person back then. I was just a little bit more reserved to show that, right? Now, did my dress code change? Absolutely. Did my party girl ways, go away? Yes. It had nothing to do with actually getting in a relationship. I think it's just stepping back and having that self-evaluation of, okay, you don't like where you're at right now and you don't like what people think of you, then change it. You're not stuck there. People believe that because that's what you're putting out.
Right.
And so it's very interesting because, and I know this is a crazy way to put this, but there's a Hugh Hefner documentary. And it told you about how Hugh Hefner became Hugh Hefner. And what he specifically said is that the way that I was going to create my image is by dressing a certain way, acting a certain way, and revolving myself with certain individuals. So how can I complain about the perspective that people had of me when all I did was post things about being out partying or taking shots or not growing the business? So you really have to take yourself out of that element and think about, okay, what do I want to be? How do I want to be perceived? And then put that out. And so it's not that I wasn't those things. It's just that that's what they saw. and they didn't get to see the mom side of things, the vulnerable side of things. And so it's really
The hopeless
changing.
romantic.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. And I think that we all have a little bit of that in us, but it's changing the ways that we are. We can't keep blaming everything on everybody else. It's also about us, and take some accountability.
Of course. Because what made you change? You said that you had that point in time. What year was that you said, you know what, this is not what I want? Because I will say it was probably the fact that you weren't getting results that you wanted, right? So what made you say, this is not who I want to be? This is not who I want to associate myself with. I want to grow the business. I want to do this. I want to do that. I have visions. I have goals. When was that?
To be quite honest, I think it's whenever Monarch started. And the reason behind that is that I was crushing it. I was doing fantastic. I was one of the top producers at Remax. I mean, I was patting myself in the back. I felt pretty damn good about myself, but I did not feel good about myself on a personal level because I was not the mom that I wanted to be. So here I am criticizing somebody else about, or judging somebody about the way that I was brought up, yet I was falling into the same type of absent mother, not being around, not going to games, and noticing the difference from when I was there for my kids versus when I wasn't. Yeah, again, I can post on social media all day long, and it's a little video with me and my kids that could be 5 seconds, and then go back to work. I was a workaholic. So I had to make a decision in my life as to, this is not sustainable, and how is this going to impact my kids? I needed to stop being so selfish, because that's what I was. I was selfish about the money and growing the business and wanting to be a top producer, that I had to step back and think about, who was this going to affect in the long run? So, which is why Monarch came into play. Our intentions, or at least my intentions, were never to grow this to be 100 agents, to make money and be rich from Monarch. My intentions were to be able to have my life balance. Do I still want to kill it? Absolutely. But if I can leverage the business and share the wealth with other people and have that balance with my kids, then I feel like I'm rich just for that, because I've succeeded to be more present with my kids.
And it's great that you say that, because that was truly the vision of the Monarch team. When we started, what was the first thing that we said?
What was the first thing that we said? I don't know. We've said so many different things.
That we're not going to be a brokerage with 100 agents to where they're just a number.
No, and we've never wanted that. I would rather have 5
because we're
agents
givers
and be
right?
top producers, right? And we're all succeeding. There's enough real estate for everybody. We're not here to compete with anybody else. The sun shines
for everybody.
Absolutely.
And when you started the business, it obviously was the team, and it went through different agents, and we've had people come and go. Mm-hmm. How have you felt about the retention of the Monarch team?
You know, I could say that I am proud, and I guess I have to see this 2 different ways, right? I am disappointed in some sense when somebody does leave because of the loyalty factor. But this is still a business.
It is.
It's expected, right? This happens in corporate America. This happens absolutely everywhere. So I can't expect everybody to stay at the brokerage. At one point, they're going to outgrow. They might have different visions. Just because my intentions are to have a life balance, that doesn't necessarily mean that's their intention, right? They might be where I was when I started Monarch, or they might want their own brokerage. So this might not be the best fit for everybody. And I tell anybody that interviews with me, I say, I'm not the cheapest brokerage. I'm not the best brokerage, but let me tell you what we are. And so that's the way that I kind of play things. It's not even about being disappointed when people left. I think that what disappoints me is when you leave a brokerage and you badmouth them.
Right.
Right? Your success is not dependent on the brokerage. Your success is dependent on you as an individual. So I've never understood, because I have been at 2 other brokerages. Not once have I said anything negative. If anything, I've been grateful. One was a transactional based, no help, absolutely nothing. right? And I'm still grateful for that individual because these are all phases in our lives. What I don't understand is the bad mouthing, really, because you don't do that in corporate America. Like, what is it? Because we're all women? Well, now we have men, but I just don't really understand that dynamic, especially because I would never screw anybody over. Like, that's one thing about me. I'm not going to lie and I'm not going to screw you over. And so when you leave, I do take it personal, not that you left, but that there's a story behind it, right? I wish I knew that story because I didn't. That's not the story I got. So I don't like that the he said, she said, but everybody's gonna,
And it's going to happen regardless. And I've always said there's always three sides to the story, yours, theirs, and the
real
truth.
story.
But you know what? The truth is really always going to be dependent on that person, because my truth can be a different truth of yours. I could have taken it a different way. And this happens a lot in the brokerage, where even between us, like we could have a disagreement. And then when I tell you the way that I see it, you say, okay, I didn't think about it like that, or vice versa, right?
It's different perspectives.
Different perspective. But what happens is communication. And one thing that we've said is, if you don't speak up, we don't know what the problem is.
No, how can you fix something that you don't know is broken?
Right.
Right.
So how, going forward, because 2023, we're still our goal is to continue to grow. How do you feel that should be handled?
I think that we can put as much structure in place and communicate as much as we want, but I think that individuals are going to react their own way. I don't know that we can stop anybody from feeling any type of way or from experiencing and living their way that they're receiving things. So the only thing that I say key is communication, and whether it's going the way that you want it to go or it's not, you just kind of have to roll with the punches. And the main thing that I can say is just continue to be loyal to these individuals. And with time, they will realize, like, wait, maybe what I thought was
Wasn't
not
really it.
Because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It
Right.
really isn't. I mean, it may, but when it comes to real estate, your success is dependent on you. It really is.
100%.
Because there's been brokerages who say, well, it's the brand. It's the brand. As much as we all love to say that it's the brand, it's absolutely not. You're the one that sells that home. You're the one that obtains that buyer. If you do not have the hustle, if you do not have the intention to treat this like a business, it's never going to be a business. So this is on you. The brokerage is there to support you. So yes, there's different brokerages, different flavors, different everything. But at the end of the day, you have to be the person that's going to, because this is why you're an independent contractor.
Right.
Right. So I think
And
that
there's so much that we can do. Like, we can't please anybody. And this goes not just in business. This is in
aspect.
life, because there's also friends, and you have your personal life out there. I don't think people understand that really running a business is a 24 hours, 7 days a week kind of thing.
Some people think it's easy.
Yes. You think you're going to go to sleep and you're going to wake up and you're a millionaire? No. And
if you think you're going to
struggle.
own a brokerage and that brokerage is going to be the one that's going to make you a millionaire, I'm telling you, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. You have to have other sources of income. Whether it's other things in real estate, things that complement each other. I mean, it could be so many different things. Now, it's not to say that it's not going to get there with time, but this is not an overnight success. Real estate is not, that's not the way it works. At least not owning a brokerage and then all of a sudden I'm rich. No, that's not the way it works.
How do you see them on our team? Let's say 2024, because there's a lot of plans going on this year that we're very excited about. How do you see it for 2024?
I do see it growing. I do see maybe doubling up the headcount. I think we're becoming a stronger, more unified group. I see that we all have each other's back, and I think the dynamic has definitely changed. Because we interview a lot of agents. Not many agents are actually invited to join. Mm-hmm. So I think that we've become a lot more selective on who we bring in, because I will say, I can't have anybody come in and mess up our energy.
Right.
Energy is everything. And the bigger brokerages, it's not like that. You just kind of take it's a numbers game.
Because everybody's on their own.
But here it's different. You're still on your own, I would say. But if I'm
But you
here,
have backup. I feel like
I'm here every day. I cannot have somebody ruin my energy. So I think to me, it's all about the energy that the person brings and the dedication. And so that's why these interviews are so important.
very important. Speaking of energy, you have a very strong energy, let me tell you.
I do. I've heard this.
Very strong. You go into a place, I can automatically 100% tell Yvonne's pissed off. Who pissed Yvonne off? Or I don't know, it's just me, but I feel like you do have a very strong energy. We go somewhere, we make plans, Yvonne's there, happy, everybody's happy. Something happens to Yvonne, everybody is like in their mood. And I'm like,
I don't know what it
is
is
going on? Yvonne leaves the party. She doesn't even say bye. Can you tell me why? What is the deal with you leaving places and not saying your goodbyes? Or just saying, hey guys, thank you for
No, I
coming.
don't. I've never. It's always been like that since I
know.
can remember. Since I can remember, I ghost people.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard enough to get me to come out, and when I do finally come out, maybe I stick around for like an hour and then I'm out.
Literally, I think your max is 45 minutes.
Yes, but I know people will say, no, don't leave, and oh, don't do this.
Well,
so
because
I just
when
do
you're
it.
there,
I don't want to ruin everybody else's vibe.
No, you don't ruin people's life. What I will say is people like you to be there.
Yeah.
People want to spend time with you, so they enjoy your time. But
I don't think it's that important.
Well, to other people it is.
No, it might be, again, it's all perspective, right? To me, it's just like, okay, so I'm going to go say hello to everybody, then I'm going to leave. To them, it's actually about socializing and having conversations.
I feel like because everything with Yvonne, at least.
Why are you talking to third person? I'm right here.
Yvonne, because I'm talking to the followers. Everything with Yvonne is business. And it's very hard to get her out of that business mentality at times. I have it because, we've known each other. Yes. But there's other people that want to have that other side of Yvonne with not having.
It's interesting because sometimes I go to lunch with individuals and like Elvis, one time she helped me decorate the office. And so I said, do you want to go have lunch? She's like, yeah, absolutely. Let's go have lunch. And we realized that it was the first time where I actually opened up and had a conversation. She goes, I've never really talked to you this much. And so it really does, it made me smile, but it does make me realize that I don't open up to individuals very much. I mean, it's really difficult for me to open up or even just kind of, okay, it's not about business. How's your day?
Yes.
And it could seem a little narcissist because I'm just talking about business,
well, I'm glad you see
me. But I don't actually take time to ask others.
How are you?
Yeah, how are you? Is everything okay? I'm doing better, but I am so absorbed with, the numbers.
Because you're trying to see the results.
Yes.
You're looking at in the long run. And when you don't see it, I feel like that's when you're like stressed out. And your whole mindset kind of changes because now you're worried. Now and also another thing about Yvonne is everybody really, including family members, friends, depend on you. That's something that, I don't know if it's a Virgo quality or what, but they feel like you can solve everybody's problems. So
I can't.
You're used to that, but you're used to wanting to solve those problems for everybody. For example, we're in a group message, we get a text message in an instant, there's a problem. And here we are trying to solve it, right? Where you could be with your at your son's game, or you could be on a date with your husband. And you stop what you're doing because you want to fix it. Why do you do that? Why don't you give yourself some time?
That's a good answer. I mean, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I do feel as an individual, I put others first, and I do need to take a step back and maybe make my time a little bit more of a priority, which is something that we're learning at the book club. Is we manage the time, especially in this business. We own this business, so we should be able to structure the business the way that it works for us.
And we still don't.
But I don't shut that off. I never shut off work. For example, there was something that I mentioned in the book club that I said, why are you responding to emails anytime after 8? All the deadlines have already passed. It can wait till the next day. Shut up the phone, answer in the morning. But guess who does it? I do it all the time. And so I have to practice what I preach, because this business is when people say it's an easy business, it's not. But to us, there's some people that get time is of the essence. Other people don't, but we get it to a different level. I don't need to answer. Yeah. So yeah, we absolutely need to turn it down.
And we talk about it every single year.
Yes.
And you did this actually this weekend when you sent me a message, and here I am. I think I was shopping for something, and I estoy contestando, and then the person that I was with was like, "It's work, huh?" And
Yeah.
it's okay. Our brain is just thinking of work and how we're gonna, because we don't want to fail. I feel like, and we take failure probably not lightly. But to be honest, I feel like we are failing some way, somehow. Just like you said right now with your kids, you felt like you were getting to that point to where you were failing them.
Absolutely.
And it's going to come where you're prioritizing and trying to do everything at once, that there has to be that one instance where you're not going to do it right.
No, you're not perfect. You're human. And so that's okay. We're all trying to figure this life thing out together. So that's why I don't compare myself to anybody else. And even social media, I'm very rarely on it. I have so many people on mute. Yes, we're acquaintances, or yes, I know each other, but
So you feel it affects you?
I do. I feel like it's toxic. Even seeing another brokerage, and they're hiring hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of agents, and they're dominating, and their presence is fantastic. I always think about, wow, like, why can't I do that? But I can. I just choose not to, right? It's like, what are you going to compromise to get that?
Exactly.
And so I'm not saying that they're compromising. I think that a smart individual will surround herself with the people that are going to get things accomplished. And so I think that that's what they've done. They're very smart individuals. But for me, not that I'm not smart, it's just, am I willing to take another piece from my family at this point in time? I'm not. I'm not willing to compromise my kids. I'm not willing to compromise my new marriage. And to me, you have to figure out what's priority. Is it going to be your business? Is it going to be God? Is it going to be your marriage, your kids? And really connecting of where does everything fall in line? And just real estate's not my number one right now. It's not. And it's taken me a long time to get to that place. But as much as I still take care of all of my clients, if my kid needs me, I'm going to be there.
Tell us an instance that back in the days that didn't happen and you chose a client.
Oh, I mean, there's not even one instance. I could say it was multiple situations. And
it happens because you were a single mother, right, at that point in time. So you really didn't have that help of...
No, I didn't have anybody to help me with my kids. I mean, when I first started real estate, geez, Louise, it was so difficult. I was working around the clock, and I would take my kids to showings with me. This is my first year in real estate, taking my kids with me.
How old were they?
Kayla was 2 and Ethan was 5. There was one time I had TVs in my car, and I took them to a showing, and I kept walking past the window to make sure that everything was okay. Oh my God. In that situation, I saw my truck move and it was driving. And I knew my kids don't know how to drive, 2 and 5. What the hell? Ethan's crying. Kayla's holding on to dear life. What they did is they were watching SpongeBob and they went to hit next and they accidentally put it on neutral. And so the car just kept going. Needless to say, I lost those clients. My kids were okay, but I just felt like, I can't do this. I can't bring my kids. It's not professional. They didn't know that my kids were in there. They just thought I left my car on. But, you have to change your dynamic when your cards are that you're a single mother and you have nobody to watch them. Because you have to keep in mind, I can hire somebody to watch them, but you don't actually get paid until file funds.
Right.
When you represent a buyer, you're going to show them numerous properties before you actually, close a deal. So it was very unique situations starting real estate because I had to take my kids with me to everything. I just didn't have the type of money to hire somebody to do this for me. I just didn't. Again, this is why we're here, because the dynamic had to change. There was another situation where my son had a baseball game. I didn't go to, honestly, I went to very little games of his. And I showed up and he was really excited and he got out. And he cried and cried and cried. And the coach pulled me aside and said, he has never reacted that way when he's got out. Because you showed up, he felt he disappointed you. And that, to me, it was a big impact to me because I felt like he didn't disappoint me. I disappointed him for not being here enough. And so he's really excited anytime I'm there. And if I can't make something, it affects my son tremendously. And so I make it a priority for me to make sure that I'm going to all his games because of that. Because everything I've said, because I've said everything I didn't want to be, I felt like the money was great, but I was disappointing my kid.
Who really mattered.
Absolutely.
So now what? Your clients are going to leave? No, they're not.
No, absolutely not. Everybody's taken care of.
You've established a structure, a foundation to where your clients are going to be taken care of, your family's taken care of. Is Yvonne being taken care of?
Yeah, I think Jake's
and I know Jake's
doing a great job.
I knew you were going to say that. I know Jake.
I wouldn't have married him if he wasn't.
I know he's amazing. Love that compadre. But are you taking care of Yvonne?
I don't think that I'm fully there, but I think that the people that deserve a lot of credit is the agents at this brokerage, because they are the ones that help me out so much with clients, with showings. I mean, there's some of these agents that all I have to say is, hey, I have a new client, and all right, let's do it. And they step right in. I do feel that this brokerage has been a complete blessing to me in my life, not just because of the friendships that have been developed, but because of the business relationships that have been developed, and that we all want the same thing. We all want to make money. It's only fun if we all make money. So,
but it's more than money.
No, it is. But we all strive to give that same customer service.
Yes.
And so if we hired individuals that saw everything that was just a number,
or that is just given to you,
then I don't feel that I would be as appreciative. Like they get it. They do. They get it.
And you've also seen a growth as you giving them your files, which it takes a lot to let go of your files, because of course there's that control in you that you want to make sure that everything's handled. And again, people work very differently. Not everybody works like you. And it has taken some time for you to understand and kind of be like, okay, well, so long as the end result happens, you're happy, right? And
well, yes and no. I mean, obviously the end result and the process, I want to make sure that all the clients are taken care of. And I don't want them to feel that, oh, Yvonne wasn't there.
Right.
Yvonne was there.
Right,
I'm just not visibly there, but I'm there behind the scenes and
making sure that it's taken care of.
Absolutely.
And you've seen it. You're able to train individuals to work the way that you work, so that you feel at one point, you don't have to be
concerned.
Yes. Or like cuando estás nomás atrás de ellos, hey, ya pasó esto, ya pasó lo otro. Micromanaging. Yes. So it also took a lot of that to take that control away. So in that sense, moving forward, you're able to give out so that you can have some freedom, so that you can have some alone time. But it's still that sense of you're still going to text message and you still answer it right away, try to fix.
Yeah, I think that there's certain aspects of me that aren't going to change. I mean, you can try to change them, but I just am who I am, right? And so the sense of urgency, I think, is always going to be there. And it's not just with that. Anybody that texts me, I text back. My phone is glued to me. That's just who I am. If somebody doesn't, oh my God, guys, if I do not respond right away, you got to track me, find me, get me on Dateline. Like, seriously, something's wrong. I do respond to absolutely everybody. So it's not just clients, it's my kids, it's anybody and everybody. And I don't know that that's 100% going to change, but I know that the priorities are definitely aligned.
Awesome. And they are.
Yes.
And it's going to be a great future for the Monarch team.
Yes.
How do you feel whenever agents talk bad about you?
I think at this point it's kind of humorous.
In what sense?
Because
What are some things that have been said that really hurt you? Because even though I know that
think.
you are this strong individual that we used to joke about it that say we have no soul.
Yes.
Yes, you do. And if anybody has a kind heart, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
You're, I feel like you're that type of person that lo das todo, y a veces when you don't get it in return, it's like, damn.
Yeah, it stings.
Right. It hurts.
Yeah, it stings.
Hurts. What has been the most hurtful situation, whether it be in the brokerage or in your personal life, that has hurt you the most?
I don't know. I can't really think of one specific thing. I think from me, from a family perspective, from a personal perspective, it's being lied to or being deceived, and that's really or being recognized, right, for everything that you put into it, into life. And then from a personal, it might be the exact same thing. It's just being ungrateful, because I do give a lot, and not just emotionally, but financially. I mean, I'm a giver, and everybody knows that. I give, even with leads. I mean, you probably didn't do anything, and I just gave you $6,000. But it's disappointing when you feel that you've developed a friendship or a great business relationship, and to hear somebody speak ill of you. It's never a good thing, right? And I don't know that it's affected me in a way where it's affected me personally or my day-to-day life, but it does make me take a step back and think about who I want to surround myself with and who I think are friends that are not friends. So from that perspective, it does affect me, because I limit my who I surround myself with.
Do you feel like you have been learning your lesson, or you're still like struggle here and there? I know I can say a situation that could have been that something that hurt, even though you don't want to admit it. And I'm not going to say names or anything.
Okay, which one? Yeah, I'm curious.
I will say it was probably one of the agents to where you pretty much did all of the work for. And at the end of the day, you felt as if this person was being appreciative and was there for you in that loyalty sense and being there for you 100%. But at the end of the day, it really wasn't. And situations came here and there that you heard of things that were said that weren't true, were 110% not true. So it was a person that you least expected it, to where this person left, wished them the best, still rooted for them, still, we're there with them, regardless of if they were in the brokerage or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then those comments came to our ears. You didn't believe it. I believe
No, I
it
give
because
everybody
I
the
saw
benefit
it.
of the doubt. Everybody around me always said, no, she's saying these things about you and she's not a good person, and, certain things. And I said, no, I don't think that. I think she's just probably going through a hard time. And so I don't believe a lot. But that's what I feel about everybody. I feel that I have to give them benefit of the doubt. I don't believe that people are malicious. In this instance, I believe at this point in time, she probably was, had the intent of being.
She was malicious. I still think there's things that are going through her life that probably caused her to do things out of
Yeah, I think it's all
spite
circumstantial.
or, yeah. So do I believe those things? No. But what does that bring to judging a book by its cover? Because the more people talk about other people, they could start believing those things about you or about the brokerage.
And I think that that's what bothers me altogether, is that there's a perception of the brokerage of, oh, it's a gang. It's like a dynamic where they only look out for each other.
Not true.
Well, in a sense, yes, but in a sense, no, right? Yeah, we look out for each other. We work together. Of course we look out for each other, but there's no malicious intent within each other. And we don't talk about each other. It's everybody just wants to grow. So, and people are like, oh, they're intimidating. They're not approachable. This one is awful. This one's great. Hell, I've heard one where it's like, oh, the main one slept with my husband. I'm like, what? Like, seriously, like there's so many things that have been said, or you have to have breast implants to join the team, or you have to be pretty to join. It has nothing to do with that.
Or you have to be a female. Like
no, anybody can come.
Anything we want.
Or even, and this one really, really bothered me. You have to be Hispanic to join.
Not the case.
Are you serious? Or they're racist? No.
Absolutely.
It just happens to be that the people that have approached us have been of that ethnicity.
Right.
It has nothing to do with that's what we wanted to hire. Hell, I'd love to hire everybody. You know, as long as they have the confidence and the hustle, absolutely. But so I do think that people judge us because of our presence. And to me, the way that I see it, it's not even our presence. Guys, if you saw us on a day-to-day basis, we don't even look like that.
Not at all.
Like,
there's times that I give my business card, I'm like, toco baño.
Yeah, like sometimes I'm in a hoodie and sweatpants. We look like that few times, maybe once or twice a month.
Right.
You know? So we don't even look like that. We're regular people trying to grow a business, trying to run a business, trying to sell a property. Like we're all just us. And so it's called branding, guys. And so you can't take everything that you see and run with it.
Right.
You have to actually take some time to get to know individuals so that you can make your own judgment. And that's what I really want to take out of this, is that before you judge somebody, make your own judgment, because agents can leave and badmouth us, but other agents have came and have spoken to those agents, said, oh my God, it's nothing like they said it was. And I said, yeah, I'm not quite sure what that conversation, maybe that was their experience. I'm not taking any experience away from them because that's probably what they experienced. But give people the benefit of the doubt. And before passing judgment, how about you approach them and then you determine your own judgment versus adopting somebody else's?
Right. Again, because the way that I see things could be from a different perspective of another person. What I think it's right may be wrong for the other person. Mm-hmm. So that is something that I feel as a brokerage we do very well, to where if you come to me and tell me, hey, this happened. It's not like we say, you did it. No. Tell me how it happened. And then I'll tell you, there's times that somebody thought, that we were basically going to fire. No, that's not the case. We're planning of going on vacation and we wanted things to be taken care of, right? But as much as people start bringing comments, and this is something that I do feel that you start feeding that person's brain with bad things that are not even there.
But I think it's in every company.
Every company. But honestly, I don't see it too much in corporate because everybody's on their own. But
and there's HR.
Also, but there's also like even with family members, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. Let's put it for better words. That's not at all what I meant. And when somebody has their own personality and their own ways of saying things, they absolutely can be taken the wrong way.
Especially when you have a strong personality.
Yes.
Which we both do.
Yes. But we've learned how to manage and communicate that within each other. And I feel like that is one of our goals that we want to do, to incorporate it within the brokerage, for them to feel like they can come and talk to us, so that...
Yeah, we have an open door policy.
Cuentas claras, amistades largas. What I do know, and I will say to end this, because I know we probably passed it, that one situation when we never fought till this day, gracias a Dios.
You've gotten on my nerves sometimes, and I've gotten on yours, yes.
Same. But the one situation where I know to answer my phone, because if you don't, then you're going to freaking try to find me.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Everywhere and stalk me, call my boss, call my mom, call everybody and their mothers because Arango didn't answer and Arango was working.
Yes, yes.
And what I know about, y otra cosa, whenever you come talk to me, you say the first thing, no te alteres.
Yes.
That's already me saying, okay, Arango, something happened.
I just know you.
Okay.
I just know
but
you.
But then something that I know about you is don't write in caps.
Oh my God. That pisses me off. I literally went off one day on you.
Went off on me, and I'm like, you know what? And then you write caps as if it was going to affect me. I started laughing.
I was so livid when you wrote in
pissed.
caps. Oh my goodness.
But I was laughing, and I'm like, ¿y esta qué tiene? I
was
no
pissed.
idea. I had no idea.
And that's how a text could be misconstrued. Yes.
I had no idea that what I was saying, you were interpreting it as me screaming or yelling. I'm like, dude, I'm freaking working. I'm in caps, and I'm not gonna change just because I'm writing to you.
You better lowercase your.
That's what I said. No, I'm not. So then I'm like, you know what? If I'm working and I'm writing caps, I'm just not gonna answer, and that's that. And así, ni te alteras tú y ni me altero yo, porque si no, van a pasar problemas.
I was so irritated that day. I remember that.
But then you write to me in caps, and I'm like, ay, qué cosita tan preciosa. Me quiere hacer enojar y no me enojo.
Yeah, I was super irritated.
Well, what do you think? You feel good?
Yeah, I feel good.
See? Yeah, it wasn't that bad, right?
No, I think it's way better than the video, because it takes the pressure off. Yes. And this is more of a conversation. So
well, I'm so glad that you were able to give me an hour of your time. I know your time is valuable, and I know you have millions of things to do. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for joining, Yvonne. As I said, we can have this conversation daily, but yes. I wanted followers to know who Yvonne Voskuhl now is.
Okay, let's say Cazares for now. We're not changing the realtor name, okay? So
no, Yvonne Cazares se queda como tu nombre de negocios.
For real estate, yes.
Yes, de negocios. Pero I wanted them to know the real Yvonne Cazares, that she's not this unapproachable,
no, I like people,
RBF face, which is President face, yes, that most people think you are. Mm-hmm. And you're very kind, and I'm glad that we are partners. I'm very grateful for you. You know, I've said that many, many times. And I'm looking forward to a great future.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as always, how this podcast is named, No Pasa Nada, people. We've already established that with everybody who's watching, and now with you, what it means. It's all going to be okay, right? Mm-hmm. We got this. We have, even if we have any problems in the future, not within each other, because we're always going to solve them along the way. But there will be stepping stones or people throw at us that we're going to handle it with grace.
Absolutely.
Right? Bueno. Gracias.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this segment, and we'll see you on the next No Pasa Nada, people.